first episode of Beyond the Bows with Alexa and friends. Today, I have a really special friend here with me. Her name is Lydia. She's a stage manager. How you doing, Lydia?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here and being my first guest too.
Oh my gosh, it's an
This
honor.
is so fun, and I'm just so excited for our conversation because we both have a lot of good things kind of planned out and really good conversation that I feel like isn't talked about a lot. I feel like stage management, can I start off by saying, like, y'all feel like the underdogs.
Thank
You know what I mean? Like, you just are always coming in clutch and saving the day, and I just feel like it's not appreciated and talked about enough. So if you're in a show right now, or if you have been in a show, go text your stage manager and say thank you for all you do, because this is how the magic happens right here.
Thank you. It is a very thankless job, so
It
they would
is.
appreciate
Yes,
it probably.
yes, definitely. All right, so I just want to start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself for our viewers that don't know you. If you don't know Lydia, you should, and you will by the end of this.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia Ridell. I am a senior at Rowan University. I'm a design tech concentration. I focus solely on stage management, as we know. I am from Delaware, and I currently work for a company called Theater in the X in Philadelphia as their resident stage manager.
Nice.
And I've worked for a couple of different companies like Ego Po Classic Theater and the Eagle.
Yeah, and you've done a lot at Rowan too.
Yes, I've done 9 different shows / ceremonies here at Rowan.
That's amazing.
Cute.
I want to know how you got started with theater and kind of what gravitated you towards stage management. Did you have any like experience, just in any other aspect of theater?
So yeah, my stage management experience is actually a little bit different than some people because I started off as a performer. I started theater in, oh my goodness, I was 8 years old, so third, fourth grade. And I started as a performer. The first show I saw was Joseph, and I loved it. So I was like, Mom, enroll me in summer theater camp. So I did a lot of like Pittman theater camp for a while. And then all through high school, I was a performer. But when I got to college, I was like, you know what? I'm a little anxious. I didn't feel like getting in front of everybody and like actually getting critiqued. So I was like, let me take a step back. But then I realized that I actually love telling people what to do, low key. And I love all of the other responsibilities that come with being a stage manager. So, yes, I am backstage now, but I've grown a whole new love for it. So
That's awesome. I think it's so cool that you started off performing and you kind of have that experience of both. And I feel like that probably helps you as a stage manager to know what it feels like to be on the other side of things too.
yeah, it definitely gives me a little bit more sympathy. If like we're in tech and they start talking during lighting tech, I'm like, all right, let me not scream at them to be quiet instantly because
Yeah.
I get it, they're antsy. But yeah, it definitely helps me a little bit understand where they're coming from.
That's awesome. So when did you kind of start stage managing, and what's your sort of experience that you had prior to Rowan? Because I want to talk about kind of what got you to Rowan too.
So, stage management in high school, I was an ASM for 2 of our musicals, and that kind of got me to the like stage management feel. I didn't love it at first though. I was like, yeah, I don't want to be backstage, whatever. When I originally came to Rowan, I came here as a graphic design major. Had no
I didn't know
theater.
that.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not going to do theater in college. Lasted 1 semester, hated it. So I switched to the design tech concentration. Didn't have a focus on stage management yet, though. Actually started as a sound designer my freshman year. And then our professor, Tom Fusco, actually told me, like, hey, they're looking for assistant stage managers for next year if you're interested. So I started off as an assistant to some senior, I forget who. And I really loved it, and I loved that you got to like actually call when the lights and sounds come on stage, and I was like, oh, I want that power. So my sophomore year of college is when I'd say I really started like stage managing full time.
Okay. I love that you found that in college, and I feel like there's so many, if you're someone out there who is not in college yet and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, it's like things will just come naturally. And it's so cool that sort of fell back in your lap because, you ASM'd in high school, but it obviously wasn't something that you really felt
Yeah,
strongly
I never would have thought
about.
about it.
Yeah, and I think ASM, an assistant stage manager, if you don't know what ASM stands for, and then an SM is what stage manager stands for. I think they're definitely two different things. And like you said, with calling the lights and the sounds, like that's something super cool and, you know, like badass kind of, I think.
Yeah, it is really
and I bet you
different.
feel badass too.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So what kind of made you want this to be your career? What was kind of, because, you know, some people obviously do this just as a hobby, just for fun, you know, around the community, which is amazing. But what sort of clicked in your brain that was like, ooh, like this is my calling?
So, I knew that I wanted to do theater at the end of my freshman year, specifically because when I was doing my graphic design classes, I hated it, but also I took a music appreciation class, and we had a day where we focused on musical theater history, and I knew every answer. I was geeking out, so I was like, all right, I definitely have to do some form of theater as my job, because there's no way I'm going to get out of it. The first show that I stage managed on my own at Rowan was a play called The Wolves, and it was totally messed up because of COVID. So we were rehearsing online, but then also meeting on like a soccer field to shoot individual scenes, but like we were all masked up. But I remember being so proud of the final product, and just in that moment when like I finally got to show my family, I was like, I think this is what I want to do like for the rest of my life. Like I just liked being like, yeah, I made that light go on, or I made that sound happen. Like I might not be the performer, but like it wouldn't have happened without us, you know?
Right, exactly. Sometimes it's just like a feeling too that you get, and you're just like, I know that this is what I need to do. It's not even like it, of course it's a want, but it's just like, this is my passion. And I feel the same way, like about theater and acting. And I think it's just such like a nice tight knit community, because we all sort of feel that same passion, and that's what creates just like such great art and really special moments.
Yeah, it's like during the rehearsal process, of course, obviously it's like, oh my gosh, I want to rip my hair out. But once I start to like call the cues in the booth, I'm like, oh yeah, this is my show. Like calling the cues is definitely what keeps me there. I love getting to do that at the end of the day.
And you're like, it makes it worth it. You're like, this is why I do this.
Now, even just those little moments where like the cast is just like clapping for us, you know, up the top. I'm like, oh, we did it.
It just
we made
like
it to
makes
the
your
end.
heart kind of flutter, you know? Would you ever be interested in doing, because I've seen like on TikTok recently, like the people for like award shows that like call all of those. Is that like a different sort of wheelhouse? Like what's the...
So it's funny you asked that. I've done 8 actual productions here at Rowan, but last year I did the medallion ceremony, which is a little similar to an award show, I'd say, at Rowan. But it is completely different, because rather than like focusing on like actual lines or movement, it's like, oh shoot, I need to like just know what this person is saying live and be like, okay, I think they're coming to the end of their speech, now cue. Awards shows definitely would not be my first choice, just because I think I do like the more theatrical elements of everything.
Absolutely.
Award shows are cool though. You can cut people off at certain times with music and stuff. But yeah, no, the medallion ceremony was great, but I think I definitely would stick to either theater or something like that.
That's so valid. Definitely. Okay, I kind of want to get into how we met and how we became friends here at Rowan University, because we both like transferred. I transferred. Did you go to another school before this? No, you didn't.
Here,
okay, so it was just, you were just the graphic design major. Okay. So I feel like I remember meeting you on Zoom, because we met during the COVID year, and that was literally basically a full year. Was it a full year on Zoom?
I believe so, yeah.
A whole year just on Zoom. And luckily we had some like in-person events, so like we could meet. But I remember like it was at Boda, right? Our COVID year or whatever, the little like awards.
First, like, really hung out, but I remember we had that entrepreneurship class together on Zoom, and I remember one day you messaging me about like a stage management position, I think, at somewhere else. And I remember always just being like, oh, I like Alexa.
Yes.
And then we hung out at Voda,
Oh my God, that's so exciting. And I wanted to also kind of talk about like if we've like what we've done together because we really haven't like fully worked together.
No,
I was gonna be in Collective Rage, which I ended up having to drop out of because of other productions, but I did see it and I got to work with you for like a slight time. I did come to some of the rehearsals,
yeah, like
and it was definitely fun working with you in that sense. And I wish that, you know, at some point in our college career that we could have worked together.
I do too.
I
always
know.
love working with my friends just because it's like you're always so proud of your cast when you're looking up at the booth, but it's like when your friend is on stage too, it's like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
I love getting to watch my friends on stage. It's everything.
Well, I'm hoping like that there's a possibility in the future for us I'm sure our paths will cross.
Yeah.
Like in the professional world because, you know, that we're both entering soon because we're both graduating. Which brings me to what I want to talk about next, which is something really exciting. Yesterday, Lydia had her senior project, and it was the stage management workshop.
Yes,
and it was a very big success. How do you feel about it? I think it was so great.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm very proud of it. I was very nervous going into it just because, you know, there's always the fear, oh God, what if people don't show up?
Sure.
We had a great amount of people show up, but one of my favorite moments was I heard somebody audibly say, like, I learned more in 15 minutes at this workshop than I did in an actual class here at Rowan. And I was like, oh, that made my heart very happy just because one of the biggest problems with stage management is not a lot of people are taught the correct way. Like at Rowan specifically, we don't have a stage management class. You just kind of have to learn through doing it. So it was really nice just to have a space where I was like, no, I can teach you these things. We can work together. It doesn't have to be like figure it out on your own and hope for the best. So it was just really great having like that sense of community, but also so many people who just like genuinely wanted to learn. I never would have known that all these actors actually care and want to learn about stage management. So it was very exciting. I was very happy with how it went.
Yeah, I actually went myself, and it was so cute because you had a room set up and you had your little presentation and kind of giving that background of you and what you've done at Rowan. And then you had different stations set up. So we did a call sheet, which was really, really fun. We got to do our own, and you gave us sort of like information to include of like, what happened during the rehearsal, what's going on for the next rehearsal.
Yeah, the rehearsal report.
Yeah, the rehearsal report. That was super cool. And the pile was huge of like everybody that had done one.
Yeah, I kept all those too. Everyone wrote some really cute stuff.
That's so exciting.
But yeah, then we just had like our toolbox that we could look through. That was one of my favorite things just because so many SMs are different. So like when the other stage managers from Rowan came, they were like, oh wow, I never would have thought to have this in my box. Like, thank you. So I love that we got to like share ideas like that. My favorite was getting to actually call cues with people. I had a little station where I was like, all right, we're going to play the video and you're going to call the cue synced up to it. And I feel like a lot of people really liked that. It was fun.
Yeah, you know what? If you could send that to me, I would love to include it in this because I want to show everybody, like, because you had also a video of you said you record a snippet from every show that you do of you calling, and I want to show you guys
like the most complicated sequence from each show with cues, and then I record like 3 or 4 minutes of it
because it's a lot. It's like a whole sort of, you know, actors prepare their lines, like you have to memorize this, and this is what you do. It's a big responsibility to, you know, really make sure all of the lighting and the sound cues are hit when they're supposed to be.
It is almost like we're performing too, because it's like, I mean, if I don't say go, that light's not going to come on. It is like a line I have to say almost.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And I really enjoyed the prop table that you had set up. We had, you know, a whole little table of props, and we got to learn how to tape out a prop table from Skylar, who is my roommate, and she taught us how to do that because that's normally a job of an ASM, right?
Yes, Skylar was my assistant stage manager twice this year, actually. So I was like, all right, I feel most comfortable with you coming and helping me out with this. But yeah, typically either the assistant stage manager or the props master, if the show has one, will assist in taping out the prop table. So Skylar did a great job with that. I watched.
It was so fun. I got to do a whole table, and I was loving it. Thank you. I was loving it. I think the most important thing that like I took away and we kind of discussed this already, but it's just like the amount of people that came out to really learn. And I felt like people really did take away a lot and learned more than everybody. Yeah. Like I just learned so much from, you know, the hour that I was there going through all the stations. So I think that was a huge success. And I'd love to, I mean, do you have any plans for like possibly doing that in the future, like teaching? Like what are your goals with that?
So right now, obviously the goal is like I want to work stage management for at least a year freelance and see like what I can do with Theater in the X and just Philly as a whole. But I am leaning more towards becoming a technical director in the future at colleges so that I can help on the tech side but not have to be a full-time professor. So like similar to like Tom Fusco, you know, so I could be in the background helping with tools and helping people learn about stage management, but not actual class, you know? So that's sort of the dream right now because I love helping people, but I don't want to get my master's.
Sure.
I love teaching, but I was like, I don't know if I could be a full-time teacher, you know?
Yeah, and the schooling and the debt.
Yeah, so we'll see about that. But I have been talking to some of the professors here about maybe coming back next year as an alumni and just doing another stage management workshop because we really did have people from like freshmen to seniors to even some of the alumni came back yesterday and saw it. So that was really great.
It was so cool because I feel like it's something that's just not really done. And it was something new and refreshing for everybody. And I think it's great that you have the goals of, you know, wanting to freelance, but then also potentially coming back and doing this. I think that we need you and people like you.
Thank you.
As leaders in this industry. We need women. We need diversity.
Love women.
Yes.
Yes, we need more women in stage management specifically too.
So you're just like I feel like you're the model just for stage managers and just for stage management artists. Like you rock. You're like MVP. And I'm sorry, I'm not gassing you up. I truly mean it. This girl is a hard worker. I see it every day. I live with her and she's a busy bee running around.
Thank you so much. This girl's a busy bee too. This project's going to be amazing. You should listen to every episode. My gosh.
Yes, please. Everybody listen to Beyond the Bows with Alexa and Lydia /friends.
Alexa and friends, yes.
So really quick, just to kind of, I just want to wrap up and talk about, we talked about future plans kind of, but you know, we're both graduating. Yes. How do you feel about that? I know how I feel.
I am feeling every emotion, I think. But the number one emotion besides fear is excitement.
Yes.
Just because school has been great, but like I said, there have been no actual classes for stage management. So as far as my career goes, I think actually having a career and working is best for me rather than being here doing random theater classes. But I would love, if I could just make a little bit of a difference in Rowan, just come back and be like, we need an actual stage management class. I will be an adjunct for you if I have to. Yeah. Like, I want people to learn more here.
Yeah, you will. And you already have, even by yesterday and by what you teach your ASMs too. I think also it became very real when we got our caps and gowns the other day together.
Goodness, yes.
That's what I was like, I'm missing. I was thinking of something like
that was very
that
sweet,
was really crazy. Yes. And yeah, I just kind of want to wrap up with asking, or more so like any advice that you have for people that are looking to become a stage manager, or, you know, if this is something that interests them, like what kind of advice that you would give them?
Definitely. So you want to be an assistant stage manager first, obviously. So definitely, if you're interested, reach out to either like your college professors if you're in college, or community theaters. They are always looking for assistant stage managers. A lot of shows will have more than one. I've worked on shows that have anywhere from 1 assistant stage manager to 4. So it's like you can really get experience just through ASMing. And if you like it enough, then you can build your resume, become an SM yourself. And then you can kind of just go from there, because an SM can really be for so many different things. You can be for television, for like film or theater. It's great. So I think if you're interested, like definitely get out there. There's a lot of opportunities for you everywhere too. But yeah, just reaching out to people. The most important part of our job is making those connections and networking and just being like, oh, I've worked with this person. They're great. It'll help you in the long run.
Definitely. And being a positive person and bringing positivity to a space, I think, is always important too. And you do that. You're a great example of that. And I think that if you want to do it, your advice is great. You just got to go out and make connections and get started.
And don't
That's how you do
expect it to be perfect. No stage manager has ever done a show perfectly. There will always be mistakes, but you'll get better. You get better with them. You make them work.
That's
and
how you
learn how to do everything your way too. Each SM has their own way of doing things. So like my biggest issue is I always compare myself to other stage managers. So I'm like, never do that. If you're becoming an SM, like focus on the way that you want to do it and how you want to call a show and make it your own.
Yeah. All right. I think this was a really great and successful conversation.
It was. I'm so happy you had me on.
Yes, I'm so happy you came on and educated us about stage management. All right, Lydia. Thank you so much for joining me. I had a very great time talking to you. I think this was a very important conversation to have, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to hear the rest of the episodes.
Yes, I'm so excited. And speaking of other episodes, they will be coming out so soon. Stay tuned. And thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Beyond the Bows. Woo! Yay! And cut! We're done.
We did it.
Mic drop.